We're here at Pilot Access podcast episode 2, joined by Mal Hanslow and Sebastian Connor. Thanks so much for joining us, guys.
Oh, thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, cool. So, I guess our aim with this podcast, we want to be just getting your stories out there, giving people something to aspire to, and just, let everybody know what you're up to. So, what's been going on? How's business at the moment for you, Mel?
Yeah, we're good. We're weather change, man. We really picked up.
Yep.
Which is good. And just everything. Oh, this year's been a dream compared to the last few years. So
yeah. Well, I guess that's probably a good point to start on. So I guess we're kind of at the back end of, or do you feel it's the back end of the hard times from COVID and all that sort of stuff?
Fingers crossed, man.
Yeah,
Fingers crossed. It's got a little bit touch and go there for a while, but
yeah.
Starting to. It's just we're in a really good spot now because it's extremely consistent.
Yeah, cool.
So every week's very, very similar, which is nice.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't mind talking about what was the journey like? If looking back on it now, is there anything you would have changed or?
No, it's with COVID or just
or just how you got through it, because it was like I remember a lot of the times you were saying it's you'd have never imagined in terms of like what you've learnt and what you've had to learn and what you've had to adapt to and things like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I just tried to have a good open mind, and then I guess the best thing about it, obviously, because we just went to like a pretty casual takeaway model, so the food sort of required less like intense focus, but it meant that I was able to really think about what we were going to offer to our guests, and then best ways to sort of implement it.
Yep.
And sort of, it was pretty tough, man. The first like 3 weeks, I've never worked so hard and made such little money, to be honest.
Yeah, okay.
It was incredibly challenging.
Yeah.
And then once you sort of get the systems in place and work out how to do it, it was all right.
Yeah, okay.
I never thought that I would need to learn how to organize an online ordering platform, et cetera, for like our business model.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So maybe backtracking a little bit, Pilot, to tell us a bit about Pilot. What's the genesis and what do you offer?
So Pilot's just my friend's restaurant. So I was working in Sydney and I just wanted to come back for a little bit. And basically I just told them, I'll come help you out for a year.
Yep.
Blah, blah, blah. And now it's been 4 and I quite like it. So I'm just gone for it.
Yeah, okay. So what's the main sort of theme or ethos behind your menus, you reckon?
I guess everything I try to cook has to have a bit of a sense of nostalgia.
Yeah, okay.
That's kind of my main sort of style. It's changing as I get older. It is. But yeah, it's just quite... Things seem a lot more simple than they are. We put a lot of technique into a lot of our dishes, but I always try and hide them. I don't like overly fancified looking food, or I'd rather do a technique but just not mention it. Yeah,
okay. So it's like a sleeper Dragster streetcar or something.
Yeah, you want it to be a little bit understated.
Yeah, cool. So where, if you don't mind me prying, where does that philosophy come from?
I just don't like posh stuff, dude.
Yeah, okay.
That's like...
Yeah. So who were your original inspirations growing up, or in terms of cookery and things like that?
In terms of cooking, I really like Adam Wolford's. I feel like he's a very underrated chef. Like his just vegetable cooking, particularly, is super interesting. He's got I really like the way he morphs a lot of like health food stuff, I don't know, like LSA mix and blah, stuff you'd usually find at like a health food store.
Yes.
Into like a very delicious, interesting, different take on like particularly vegetarian cooking. Yeah,
cool.
Which it's a very cool way to look at it.
Yeah, it seems to be like a lot of people are moving that way. I saw like with Daniel Hum in New York, like all vegetarian and stuff like that.
Yeah. And it's just awesome. I think it's a really cool way to look at food. Yeah, he was crazy. When I worked with him, he was just he's probably the toughest chef to be like the vegetable supplier for.
Yeah, okay.
just like the level of quality he would push for,
Yes.
just particularly in veg, was
Yeah.
on a whole nother level.
Yeah. So you worked with this?
Yeah, I worked for him for a while. He did like a pop-up series. So
Yeah,
I just
okay.
helped him there, and then he
Yep.
opened just a small. It was just like a pop-up restaurant for 6 months in Potts Point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I helped him there. It was really
okay.
cool. But
How long did you work in Sydney?
probably around like 5 years-ish. 5 years-ish.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
What other places?
I worked at Automata, Esther, and Oscillate Wildly
Yeah, okay.
predominantly. And then I worked a little bit with Pasi Patnan. He
Yep.
did. It was really cool. We did this it's like a Eurocentric kind of dinner series where he took over. We did this pop up at this cafe, and we went for 2 months, and we did like a completely different menu every week based on colours.
Yep.
And it was super interesting. He's
Yeah.
a incredibly talented chef.
Yep.
Like nuts.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, he's nuts. And we'd do like the yellow menu, and every dish would be yellow, which sounds pretty weird, but it was cool just to see a chef of that caliber, like how they think, and then to change. I think we're doing a 6-course or something.
Yep.
And just the amount of dishes that we were doing so quickly, and like it was quite, it was very interesting. He's a super deep thinker.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And you keep a lot of that, a lot of those sort of thoughts and sentiments from those times with you at the moment, or?
Yeah, a little bit. Like I just try to maintain. I don't know. A lot of the people I've worked with who I would consider to be great chefs just have like a level of intensity,
Yep.
and I just try and maintain a bit of a level of intensity.
Yeah. Okay.
Instead of sort of, I'm a pretty chilled out dude,
Yeah.
but with work stuff, I just try and really focus and
Yeah, cool.
maintain that.
So what are the metrics for intensity for you? Is that like ingredient knowledge, supplier relationships, or technique level? I guess it'd be all of that, huh?
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Like organisation, making sure everyone that works with me has a job that they want to come to. That's
Yeah,
important.
okay, cool.
Like
Yeah.
how to control different staff levels, like their pressure amounts based on their ability.
Yep. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
the younger guys, I make it so they have a good job, but it's not so intimidating for them. And then
Yeah.
as people mature, then the intensity
Yeah.
loads up
Yeah.
a little bit, because it's what they need to be focused.
Yeah. Yeah. So how does that sound to you, Seb? You've just finished your certificate 3, so you qualified. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So how does that sound? Do you like working here?
No, I really like working here. And as Mel was talking about, you kind of, because I originally did work experience here, because I came into the restaurant for dinner. I was like, this is really awesome. I really want to be a part of this team.
So that was the initial you ate it and like, I want to do this for a living. That's
I
awesome.
want to be here.
That's one of your nostalgic things, like
Yeah.
you're talking about there, Mel.
I was so stoked on like every single course. Came in with my family. I don't really think I really talked to them that much. I was just like sitting there enjoying it, experiencing it.
Yeah.
Which is pretty sick. But yeah, as Mel said, like I think working here has been really good because like when I started for that work experience, I don't know, I just like made potato balls. We had this potato ball dish on the menu. It's pretty sick. Just melon balling potatoes and then picking herbs and stuff. And then I've eventually...
Sorry, that was your main like sort of work experience duty?
Yep, that was my work experience duty, but I was so stoked. I was so excited.
Yes,
Yeah, but then after a while, like, then I got to go, like, just helped out doing, like, whatever little jobs people wanted me to do, like picking the herbs, making, like, the pickles, making the salad dressing, stuff like that. And then got to do the dessert section, and then, so that was pretty sick to, like...
So this is
have
all
my own
before
stuff
you,
to
like,
lock down.
enrolled into your apprenticeship, or...?
Oh, this is, I think,
Or sort
when
of
I was
all at
in,
the
like,
same
my
time.
first year or something,
Yep.
I'd be doing the dessert ship.
Yep.
Yeah, Seabass came on, and then he did work experience, and then he started working here casually on the dishes, and
Yep.
then he was doing an ASBAR somewhere else, and then he sort of came on and as an ASBAR.
Yep.
After that, he's transferred over to us, and
Yep.
then slowly did his whole apprenticeship.
Yeah.
with us.
Yeah, cool. So how was it, Seb?
Yeah, it was
now that
good.
you're on the other end of it.
It was very good, and as Mal was discussing, like slowly building the pressure. It was never like, oh my gosh, this is so hard.
Yep.
Like it was hard, and you have to really try, which is good.
Yeah.
But it was never like, I don't want to go to work tomorrow type thing.
Yeah,
It's
oh, cool. So
it's
you-
always like the right level.
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
always keeps getting a little bit harder, which
Yeah.
is nice. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So what's in the future for you?
I'm not sure. Well, what's in the future for you? What's in the future for us, Mel?
You're going to Botanica?
Yeah. Oh, yes. I'm going to stage at this restaurant in Adelaide called Botanic, which I'm really excited about. They won Gourmet Traveller Restaurant of the Year for South Australia last year.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so the food there looks really, really awesome. They kind of forage from the gardens and use a lot of native Australian ingredients and do like a degustation menu like us, but more of like a traditional one, you could say, where they do like 20 courses that are all super small instead of doing
Whoa,
like
yeah.
a couple more substantial ones with like a few snacks, that kind of like what we do here. So I'm very excited to go there. And then yeah, so after go to Botanic back here and yeah, just keep trying to be better. Should be sweet.
Yeah,
Looking
nice.
to the future. But yeah.
Yeah, cool. So how have you seen the restaurant change in your time here?
I don't know. I think I've seen Mao's style. Obviously, I've been very new this whole time, and I only worked at one restaurant before this, and not for very long. So this is kind of all the restaurant experience that I have. But from what I can see, like I've seen Mao's style develop a little bit, as he was saying. But also, I think the thing that's impressed me the most is he's like cooked a lot smarter as we've gotten, like 4 years, as we've gone through these 3 years that I've worked here.
So what do you mean by smarter?
Like, I think the food increasingly gets more and more delicious. Like,
Yeah, okay.
the menu we're doing right now is better than the menu that we started with.
Oh, you can see him if you want.
Oh, he can.
Sorry, man. I'm
That's
stitching you up here on Thursday.
Yeah, I think the menu that we're doing right now is probably the best menu that we've ever done. I think
Yeah.
the menu we did like a few months ago was also the best menu that we've ever done.
Yeah.
I think we're all constantly improving, but we're like, we're not working more and more and more. We're just like cooking smarter and using the stuff, like using the space better, using ingredients better.
Yeah.
I don't quite know how it's possible that we keep getting better and better, and I don't feel like we're trying really hard, but we're not trying harder and harder and harder, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like, we're
okay.
still-
Just getting more efficient as a team and things like that. Does that sound
Yeah,
right to you there, Mel?
It's sort of, well, Canberra was a weird one for me to crack, to be honest. It because I came back and I didn't really have. I'd been away for so long. I was the head chef at 86
Yes.
years ago, and sort of when I came back, I'd lost a touch. I was away just long enough that
Yep.
everything had changed.
Yeah.
So I didn't know who was a good veg supplier anymore. I didn't know who was a good beef supplier.
Yep.
And I guess Canberra is slower moving than the big cities.
Mm-hmm.
So it really took me quite a while to get the right supplier relationships.
Yep.
And then as soon as the produce I was able to access got better, then the food in turn starts to get better.
Yep.
And then you don't, as I get older, I sort of learn as well, we don't have to do as much to it.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
and therefore that makes the preps a bit easier,
Yeah, okay.
you know? But it's about me just, my style's changing a little bit and also more thinking about it and learning. It's so weird, like places I've worked at before where we used to do things in those kitchens just doesn't work here, or it's
Yeah.
so much harder than it needs to be. And
Yeah.
other things that were really challenging, we can just seem to do.
Yep.
So you just work out what is working, what's not working,
Yeah.
and then, I don't know, based on your pool of knowledge and,
Yeah.
you know, the better the ingredients you have, the less does 3/4 of the work for you. Like
Yeah.
really putting a huge focus on sourcing
Yeah.
rather than cooking. Like
Yes. How's the sourcing going at the moment, particularly with vegetables and leafy greens?
leafy greens were good. I'm
Like you
extremely...
haven't been stitched up with like weather and price and stuff? Or?
Oh, yeah, of course. But I'm really fortunate because we use a couple of local suppliers. Ingalara, which are just sort of between Canberra. They're just on the Cooma side of Canberra sort of
Yep.
thing. And then I have another girl, her name's Lil. I forget her company's name.
Yeah.
She just has some little like community gardens around,
Oh, yeah.
which is really nice. So sort of between them, a lot of our smaller herby leafy greens
Yeah.
stuff, I was very lucky we had consistent supply for.
Oh, cool.
So it really didn't affect us too much.
Yeah.
And then it's also about us just being smart, like
Yeah.
not so you don't. If a box of lettuce is costing $85, just take it off your menu and do something else. Like
Yeah.
it's pretty simple, really.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You've just got to adapt to changes with everything. So, like, you know, if we could get enough lettuce at a good price grown locally, we'd do it for 2 or 3 services, and then we'd just do a different salad.
Yes.
Like, it's pretty simple, really.
Yeah.
I just think you just don't want to go bashing your head against the walls because you're not adaptable.
Yes.
And it's about getting older, older and more experienced
Yeah.
and becoming a better chef. Like, you just learn,
Yeah.
you know, if we have a great product and we can only use it for 3 out of 5 services a week, let's just use it for 3 out of 5 and then we'll just do something else. Like,
Yeah, cool. So what's the usual sort of, I guess, inputs for information for you guys in terms of, you know, what keeps you inspired?
good.
What are we talking about?
All right, we're back on from some technical difficulties there. So I guess, inspiration. So I mean, in terms of, you know, say something that's on the menu now, what's the I guess the process? You know, where's the inspiration come from? You know, you're looking on Instagram. Are you talking to your suppliers? Are you talking to your mates? That sort of thing.
I have a thing, it's a bit of a weird theory.
Yep.
That if you want to lead, you don't follow.
Yes.
So generally, a lot of the time, if I have an idea for something, like, my friend at Morks, he just put on this, I was thinking, we're doing quails at the moment. I've got lots of quail legs left, and then not that how we're using them's fine, but I wanted to change it, and I was like, all right, I'm going to do like a quail leg sausage roll thing, and then I saw he just put it on the menu, so I'm like, well, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, so I guess I use Instagram a little bit different than some people, whereas like I'll find some dishes that I think are like cool and inspirational.
Yep.
But we never copy.
Yes. Yeah.
You can't go around someone if you're just following what they're doing.
Yeah. Okay.
And then from a supply kind of point of view, I guess I really like to find a product that I want to work with.
Yep.
And then I'll base a dish around that, rather than I've tried going the other way and being like, this is what I'm doing, blah blah blah, and really pushing to get something.
Yep.
That turns out I can't get a consistent supply for, it costs $1 million, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And there's just, I don't know, there's realistically, sometimes it works.
Yep.
But a lot of the time you put in so much work to have something that just has no, like you can do it for a week.
Yep.
And then the supply drops off.
Yes.
Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you put in so much effort to then end up with a product that it's just wasted.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. I forgot what I was going to ask. So nostalgia. I'd just like to dig a bit deeper on you know, why that's at the core of your philosophy. So what's an example of something that I guess an example of nostalgia that sort of instilled that philosophy in you?
It's just a nice way to like eat semi-uncomfortable food.
Yeah. Okay.
To be honest.
Yep.
It's like, I don't know, I guess my background, we didn't go to fancy restaurants and stuff when I was a kid.
Yep.
And then eventually when I started to eat in fancy restaurants, probably when I was about 17, 18, when I started cooking, I guess I kind of just found it so like, I loved the sort of the theatre of it, and then because I wasn't as good as cooking, so I couldn't diagnose exactly what they were doing, but I always found it extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah. So uncomfortable in terms of like ambience or the like actual type of food you were eating?
The actual type of food and the whole formality and the whole show of the whole thing.
Yes.
It was all just like a bit like, man, chill out. Like I'd rather just be at the skater with my mates. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was all just a bit too hectic. But I guess I wanted to cook food that was perceived as fancy.
Yep.
But make people feel comfortable while they were eating it. So it's like, so there's like, I don't know, being in slightly like environments that you're not comfortable in is really good for you.
Yes.
And it's really nice when you can do that to people, or that's perceived as fancy, blah, blah, blah. But then if, you know, your food can give someone a hug, that's quite nice, you know, and it makes the guest feel loved.
Yeah, okay.
You know, and it's just interesting. It's just like familiar flavors are great. Like, don't try and be one of these chefs that comes up with the weirdest combinations.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, we only have so many flavor receptors on our tongues, and certain things just taste good.
Yes. Yeah.
So what are ways that we can morph or change how those, quite simple flavors are perceived?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And is that a little bit like? Does that sound like your experience that first time that you ate here?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember we did, or we do it occasionally sometimes. When like the apples and the potatoes and stuff are nice, but this potato salad dish that I distinctly remember, it's like extremely. We call it the potato salad, but it's extremely fancy with like you put the apple on a spiralizer and then compress it in apple juice and then make like this really nice smooth potato sauce and with all these other chopped vegetables in it. But then when you're eating it, like wow, this is incredible. But
Yep.
it's like a potato salad. It takes you back to like having a barbecue
Yeah.
and just eating potato salad and like sausages and stuff like that. It is like that warm hug.
Yeah,
you talk
okay.
about, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, cool. Well, I guess you've kind of answered that question already, but yeah, if you could explain an example of a dish that gives you, I guess the hug that it gives you and how it gives it to you.
Yeah, the potato salad's that's a pretty good example.
Yeah.
It's just simple flavors.
Yep.
That's simple flavors and then done in a way that, I don't know, it's a little bit different from what you expect it to be. But the flavor profile is extremely basic.
Yep.
And then they're all just like delicious things. Like,
Yeah, cool.
Yep.
One subject I wanted to touch on. I mean, you guys are in a place where I suspect the standards are high and the expectations are high, and you were talking about pressure and things like that. So, mental health is quite a prevalent topic, I would say, in commercial cookery. What are some ways that you guys keep yours in check, if you don't mind me asking? Or like, what are some ways that you maintain yourselves, in a high pressure, high expectation environment?
I think for me personally, I know I've had some pretty gnarly things happen in my life.
Yep.
And compared to those, any
Yeah.
pressure I've ever seen in a kitchen is nothing.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and then I guess just looking after myself, and
Yep.
like I try to exercise like as I get older as well, like try and actually like plan to have time that like, all right, phone's off, I'm not doing work now.
Yes.
Which is hard because I'm quite a workaholic.
Yes.
Yeah, exercise, take time away from food. And it's weird as well because I've really thought a lot about where can I put my mind so I become the most creative.
Yes.
And by switching off a little bit
Yep.
from the day-to-day operations and
Yep.
seeing food a bit more as a whole has made me more creative and a better thinker.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Nice. And how about you, Seb?
Yeah, I don't know. Just like,
You've just been happy the whole time.
yeah, I think I'm currently still like young, dumb, and you know how the saying goes. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, like I'm extremely passionate about coming to work and doing jobs and getting better at cooking,
Yep.
which I really, really like. But yeah, it's that I don't know. I
Yeah.
think I'm very lucky in the total opposite to Mal, and the fact that like nothing ever really bad has really happened to me. So it's
Yeah.
like I've had it pretty easy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just means I have to face some challenges down the line, but I feel okay. I really do like working here, so
Yeah, cool.
It doesn't affect my mental health too much.
Yeah, nice.
But
And has it been much of a challenge for you managing it within your teams there, Mel? Like,
It's been okay because the way I've always looked at it, if I'm doing my job correctly, everyone has a nice place to go to work.
yep.
So then when people have come to me and they're like, hey, Mal, this is happening,
Yep.
blah, 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 blah. I guess from my personal experiences, I've been able to help them to be like, all right, mate, do you want some time off? Is work a positive distraction for you?
Yep.
Blah, 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 blah. Like,
Yeah.
what can I do to support you?
Yep.
And then, because like fortunately now we're like a more established restaurant, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
If they need the time off, I can give it to them.
Yes.
Before, like when we first opened, it was all pretty gnarly, and we had no staff, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it was like whack, 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 like it was
Yep.
pretty crazy. But now it's like I'm fortunate to be able to have a team that's like capable enough and big enough that we can be one person down,
Yeah.
and it's okay.
Yeah, cool.
So by being able to do that and afford that now, which is awesome. So now I can, if people need time,
Yep.
You can give them time. You can give them space. You can, just work it out with them. And I can spend a lot more time focusing on us having, all the guys that work here, having a job that they want to come to and create a nice environment for them.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Maybe if you guys, how you guys going for time? We've got another 5-10 minutes or so.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah. Cool.
We're good.
So, I guess from the perspective of, when you're at that sort of entry level of your hospitality career, you're sort of grinding away, you're not sure where things are going to go. What does current day Malcolm say to beginning of the road Malcolm?
I think I had a pretty good idea, really, all the time. I guess one of my first chefs ever, he said to me, he's like, look, it doesn't all make sense now, but one day it will.
Yeah, okay.
And he was right. Like,
So you just trusted in that mantra and just kept working?
Well, and also, I guess I try to, it's a bit of weird hippie stuff, but I try and have like a bit of self-reflection every now and then about like, where do I want to be? Mm-hmm. Where am I at now and where am I going and how are we going to get there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, so were you always aspirational to be in a leadership role in a kitchen?
No, not at all. I just wanted to be a good cook.
Yeah.
I just put everything down to cooking well. I probably 86. I was probably a bit young to be a head chef then. I was super little. I was 23 and I was the head chef at a Hatted restaurant.
Yeah.
It was gnarly, and I think my lack of skill. I was just young and full of energy. Yeah. And I could just work. Yeah. Stupid hard. To just achieve things because I probably wasn't good enough at cooking yet, but I had more energy than everyone else.
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas now, man, that was 11 years ago.
Yeah.
So as now I can be a bit smarter, and probably I think I'm far more effective. And I don't. It's just getting older but better.
Yeah. How did you get into cooking? Sorry to take you right back to the beginning, but
I started out as a pot washer.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I just did the dishes. I was like really into BMX at the time. Sort of was thinking about, if the right opportunities came up, you'd be like, okay, cool, I might go pro one day.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
I was super, super into it. And then I just sort of saw the lifestyle for what do you say? Say it's a small industry, and there's probably 10 guys that get paid reasonable cash, and there's 100 guys living horribly. Yeah, okay. And I just I saw a lot of the 100 that weren't.
Yeah, sure.
10 guys making money, and I was like, man, looks pretty cool in the videos, but the real life mentality is pretty bad.
Yeah, okay.
So
you sort of just gravitate. So you were working for a bit of cash at the time, and you sort of lent into it or something.
And it was a great job because I could go to the skate park during the day, do the dishes at night. And like the dishes, if you're like a young fit person that enjoys working in teams, doing the pots is pretty simple. Yeah. It was good. It was a great job. Yeah. And then I was like, man, cooking's pretty cool. Like, do some dessert work. Yeah. Blah blah blah, and then slowly moved up, and then I just started cooking. They got me on a section on Monday and Tuesday nights, and I didn't hate it. I enjoyed doing the section, but it was annoying because every week, we'd go through and then I'd be back on the dishes, and then I'd sort of my progress would sort of stop and then start and then stop and then start, and I ended up just said to the chef, I was like, I'm annoying you. And you're annoying me, so I need the opportunity to learn. And I just need to do this every day, and I will get better. But if I do it once or twice a week, I'm never going to get good. Yeah. And he was like, all right, mate, you can just do it every week. And then just started there.
So is that like the watershed moment where you're like I love cooking sort of thing? Or
I just always...
I love learning, or...
I'm like super interested in learning, and I like working in a team. So... Yeah, okay. Yeah, it just made sense.
Yeah. So you, Seb, what does just finished Seb say to young Seb? Is there any advice you'd give him?
Oh, I don't know. It's not that long ago.
Yeah. What would you say to people that are thinking about entering the industry?
I don't know. Just give it a try. Like Mal as well. I started on the dishes and then did one day, I think on Sundays, somewhat. Mal would have the day off, and then I would do the dessert section. Everyone would move up one section on Sunday for lunch. And all the other days I did the dishes, which is cool. I think you need to start just, if you want to try, you just have to try. Is
Yep.
the thing. Yeah, but start like from, I don't know. I think starting on the dishes. Everyone always says this. All the old chefs are always like, oh, if you didn't start on the dishes, like,
Yeah.
etc. But I think it really does make a difference because you see some chefs who didn't start on the dishes and the way they treat like the people below them is, I don't know. It
Yeah.
annoys me a lot. But
Yeah.
I think just starting from the beginning and working your way up
Yeah.
is the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing I'd like to add to that is just try and find good mentors.
Yes.
Like,
Yep.
find someone who, instead of going to work and you're just a number to them, is going to like invest a little bit in you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And actually think about where you want to go. Like, do some research into the industry and be like, all right, there's a million foods in the world, and you're never going to be a master of all of them. So try and early on try and get a broad experience.
Yep.
And then sort of work out how to specialize, but find the right mentors and the right environments for you
Yes.
to do well in.
Yep.
Like, and actually have a think about that more. Think about it more as like your career and life rather than just like, okay, this is where I go to get a paycheck.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, cool. Well, I think we might wrap it up there, guys. You guys got a busy day ahead or what?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I think so.
a little bit on, which would be good.
Yeah,
And
cool.
everyone
Well,
starts
thank you so
rolling
much
soon.
for seeing me today, guys. Is there anything you wanted to say or shout out while we
Thanks
go
for having us, man.
Oh, really?
Dude,
Thanks for having
it's
us.
been a pleasure working with you, and thanks for fitting us into your schedule and the coolest podcast location ever. And cool. All right. I'll see you next time, everyone. That's it.
That's it.
Thank you so much,
It was very professional with their ears and stuff. So good.